Well, you got to get on here, Phil. You're not
Yeah.
on this.
Now the little thing up in the corner says off air. Oh, live. Oh, okay. Now we're live.
Yeah, well, you and I are, Chuck, but we don't have
Two of
Phil on.
them. So Phil needs to hang up, and then he should see this show up in his list of Hangouts, and he should be able to answer it. Hmm. Are you still on with Phil at all?
All right, Phil, I'm going to hang up here and ask you to get on that other call.
So do you know if there's any way of having a little chat window at the same time, or?
There certainly is. There definitely is. I just have, in fact, I got a window open somewhere.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh.
you see that?
Oh, this is interesting.
Are you getting the window in a different place or something?
Well, yeah, it put your picture in a tiny little circle on top of the chat window instead of
Yeah,
full
Phil, but this
screen.
is a separate hangout.
Um,
Well, why? Well, unless you got something you got to go do right away, let's try to get you on here. Okay. I'm not sure. What do you think, Chuck? Do you have any suggestions?
okay, wait. I'm in the one. I'm in a hangout that says Francis added Chuck Gregory and Philip Farruggio to this hangout. And I'm putting a message in to see if you can see it. Anybody get a message?
Yes, I got a message on one of my windows I got open. I got several chat boxes open.
Okay. Now we just need to get Phil into this one.
Into this video call, this one we're in.
Yes.
That's different. I think this is different than the one that we were on before. It's like being recorded to the.
Yes.
Oh, it says it's not opening a new one. It's returning me to this one. Okay, now I'm in this one. But where's Phil? If I ask Phil, I can send him a thing. Say, Phil. But I don't know if he doesn't see.
I think we actually have two of them going on right now.
I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close this one. I got this one up. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
And you're still getting that, but we don't have Phil yet. I also had trouble getting Phil to like get a chat window open. So.
All right.
Oh, hi,
Okay.
Phil.
Okay, we're here, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay, we did it. Okay, all right.
I don't know how we did that. We just kind of bumbled into that one too, though.
Well,
All right.
That's about what we're doing is fumbling from one to the other until it.
Because it was like we heard the ringing, and then we're like, where do we join it? And then all of a sudden at the bottom you popped up, so it was weird, you know?
All right, stay here, though. Stay here.
I
All right. If she leaves, I'm in trouble here, you know? I don't know what I'm doing.
know, it
All
won't
right.
let me leave the room.
So, Ted, are you recording this?
yes, I think so.
Okay, so can can we start an interview and see how it goes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And then I'll also interview Chuck Gregory. How's that? Okay, I'll do the both.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, working stiffs. We're here tonight with we have two guests tonight. We have Francis Goodwin, aka Tad, and we have Chuck Gregory. Tad is up in Vermont, and Chuck Gregory is speaking to us from South Florida. I believe you're in Fort Lauderdale. Is that where you are, Chuck?
That's correct.
Okay. Ted, can you give us just a quick little background into your, we'll say, your activist life, starting from when you finished college? How did you get into the
Well,
media?
basically, I view myself as a journalist, not really a political activist per se. And,
Okay.
So I've been a journalist. I got hired into United Press International before I graduated from college. In fact, I had trouble reaching up my college credits. That was at the Detroit Bureau. Worked there for a few years. Worked on the Chicago National Broadcast Desk, then the financial desk in New York. Then I started a company called Scoop News. This is
Scoop News. Scoop News.
Scoop News Incorporated. Yeah, it's a New York corporation. That was 25 years ago. I wasn't able to make a whole lot of money out of it or anything. We distributed content to the top 50 U.S. newspapers.
Well, what did Scoop News? Well, what did they concentrate on?
One of the slogans was the financial angle on the news. It really focused on personal finance. This is back before there was such an emphasis on that in public.
Okay, was it a investigative type of an organization, or I mean, when you say financial news, was it about scandals? Was it about corruption, or what type of financial?
It was a lot of it was just sort of spot news about the Treasury, Federal Reserve, arcane kind of high finance stuff. But it was mostly spot news. I would like to have done more with it, but
okay,
that's what happened with that. So yeah, then about shortly after 9/11, back in the late 2002, I was on a website called Democratic Underground, which is a chat board, and was chatting with some people about the kind of news coverage that we were getting at the time. It seemed really biased, really corporatist on all the stations, CNN. This is even before Fox was really as popular as they are now, or were since then. We decided that we were going to try to start a television news network. I mean, it sounds goofy, but that was sort of the initiative, and a lot of people were really for it. So I started up this World News Trust project, and so I've just been really plugging on that for more than 10 years now. Just basically working with a lot of this new media, the new technology that's available, including like this Google Hangouts stuff that we're trying out right now. Really just trying to implement some of this new technology for news coverage.
Okay, now the World News Trust. I mean, you have a website. What type of other than my own work, what type of work do you look to post?
Well, I really try to cover whatever I feel like, or whatever anybody else would that's involved, I'd like to cover. In other words, I don't have any real restrictions on anything, but other than that they'd be truthful, the coverage, and it'd be good-hearted. You know what I mean? Not mean-spirited or hateful. With any kind of coverage. But I'll tell you, I'm really interested. I have a background in finance, so I'm interested somewhat in financial matters, but also in the big stories of the day. Climate change are very interesting to me, and yeah, I guess the world economy and people in general.
Okay, now, Chuck, you went to college, and what did you major in college, Chuck?
I majored in math and theater.
Math and theater.
Uh-huh.
That's very diverse.
Yeah, well, that's the usual reaction. But
That adds
yeah, that's the sort of thing that you can do at Wesleyan University.
So you majored in math and theater, and then when did you get into this high tech world?
Well, it's a long story. Well, let me try to give you a capsule summary here. I've been interested in the technical side of theater and audio production, lighting, for a long time. Since I was in high school, and so that was kind of a hobby, and it certainly fit into my theater major. I was a techie. I wasn't one of the people on the stage. I was one of the ones that did the lights and the sound and sets and stuff. So I did that for quite a while. I did that all through high school and college, but then I graduated. For whatever reason, I graduated in 3 years after. Well, the draft was ended, so I didn't need my deferment anymore. I said, oh, "Okay, I've got to get out in the real world." And,
I graduated in actually 7 years because of that reason. So anyway, just to give you a little point of information, I'm a little older than you. That's fine. So you graduated in 3 years. You graduated in 3 years, and then what did you do to earn a living after that?
Well, I did a whole bunch of different things because I got married shortly after college, and so I'm running around. Oh, I've got to have a job, make money, and nothing I had done in college prepared me to actually work. So,
That's
so
normal. Normal.
So I worked in a boat building company for a year. I worked in a musical instrument manufacturing company for a year. I worked along the lines, along the way somewhere, I learned some electronics, and I helped somebody design a electronic musical instrument tuning device that the company that was doing that, as soon as the product was done, the money guy pulled the money out. So, we went in one day, the doors were locked, literally. So then I started working as a technician, because by this time I had just enough electronics to work as a technician. And then I worked as a technician at another place, and that one worked out real well. I stayed there 11 years and ended up as a senior engineer at the end of it.
So you had a background. When you say electronics, are you talking about computers?
No, well, I'm talking about industrial I/O equipment. Basically, the kind of equipment that lets computers monitor something that's going on, whether it's a chemical plant or a glass making plant or a power plant. I made the things that interface from computers to processes, and then I moved into the software that ran those things.
So that was about, what year was all this happening? This is back in the 80s?
This was from late 70s, early 80s, yes.
Okay.
Uh, then I ended up at another point. I worked for Mettler Toledo, working on embedded processors and their scales. It was all this, it all kind of flowed from one thing to another. But all this time, I was pretty much out of the activism world. Basically, when I was in high school and college, I had gone to marches on Washington. We did uh, uh, sound and light, show with 3 slide projectors and a bunch of stuff. 2 other students and I did that, and uh, took it down to the American Friends Service Committee for a presentation. So I was pretty active, anti-war and for civil rights, and all the things that people were active in the '60s. And
So
then
you went, so you went,
we all
hold on a
thought
second.
we won, so we stopped. We didn't keep it up,
All right, so
And
you went, Chuck. Well, one thing. So you went from so you went from student activism, and you went into the working world, for years, as you just
yeah,
explained. So now let's segue. When did you go back into activism?
well, somewhere along the line around the late '90s, early 2000s, I was doing a lot of book reviews, mostly just to get free books. But I ran into this guy named Mike Palachuk, and he wrote some pretty cool books, and I reviewed one of them, and he liked the review, and he sent me 4 or 5 more books and said, "Here, why don't you try reviewing these?" And so I did that, and uh, and then I ended up. He was he had fallen out with one of his publishers and had a new book ready to go, and I said, "Well, this looks easy enough. I've got all these skills in document processing and editing. Why don't I publish it for you?" And so I started CWG Press, and I started, uh, and I ended up publishing more of his books and some other people's. Mickey Z, one of Mickey Z's books, and then a few years ago, in 2011, Mike said to me, I think we ought to do a radio show. I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, you've been doing my books all these years, and I think it'd be good to try a radio show." So we did that, and we've been doing it every Thursday since February 3rd of 2011.
So now, Mike, Mike's books. What's the general theme of a lot of his books?
Well, they're pretty much political fiction. They are, I guess, dystopian in a way. They have to do with people who are frustrated with the way things are, and people who see more clearly than the typical you know Midwestern person.
Establishment.
Yeah,
In the typical
exactly.
establishment. Okay,
Exactly.
so when did you hook up with Chuck?
Um, I recall it was around 2007. I had moved from Manhattan to Vermont, central Vermont, and Chuck just contacted me. Oh, I know what it was. The book he did for Mickey Z. He had a Google notification set so that if there was anything by Mickey Z in the news, he would see it, including like perhaps reviews of Mickey Z's book. Well, something came up with he saw some link to World News Trust because I post Mickey Z's stuff on World News Trust. He contacted me and he said, "Well, that's a pretty cool site. Can I help you out with anything?" And so I took him up on it, and Chuck's done a lot of volunteer work and some, I guess what I would just describe as not very well paid technical work on different aspects of the site and different aspects of the project. So we just kind of started collaborating on stuff.
I have no complaints. The pay's been okay.
Well, kind of minimal.
All right. So one question I have for the two of you. Here's a question for the two of you. Where do each? I'm going to start with Chuck first. Where do you stand? Where do you stand politically? But when I say that, I don't mean what party do you belong to, but where do you stand politically? Where is your mindset?
I don't necessarily believe in like the labels of left and right because it's more of each individual issue can be important, and I don't necessarily agree with everything that anybody said. However, as far as if you were going to give me a label, you'd probably put me a little bit, well, actually, pretty far to the left of the Green Party.
Oh, really? Okay. So, so you're a fellow traveler of mine. Okay.
Yeah,
And
right.
Tad, how about yourself? Where would you?
Well, I hate to pigeonhole myself, peg myself on things, but I think that, and a lot of people don't seem to understand the terminology, but I think I'm an anarchist, probably an anarcho-syndicalist. You're pretty close to some of my views, but I think the most important thing is I believe in people. I think people are really important, and I don't like to hear any kind of ideology or any kind of reason why people have to suffer or you know what I mean, why people can't do well, can't prosper and be happy. So I get angry whenever I hear any kind of bullshit excuses for that.
So just to end this little interview, we have a couple of minutes left. We have a presidential year, and I know Tad, you said you're more of an you're on the borderline of being somewhat of a, we'll say, an anarchist. And
well, I'm not a violent person. I don't believe in violence.
Right. Well, I mean, anarchists don't have to be violent. I mean,
But I don't want to be run by corporations.
Right. Okay, but here's the question. Here's a question for each of you. Okay, so we have a presidential year coming now, and we're in the midst of it. Do either of you feel that this is an opportunity? Well, first of all, how do you feel about the fact that Sanders ran as a Democrat? Chuck? We'll start with Chuck first.
Well, I think it's fine that he ran as a Democrat, and I'm hoping that there still might be a chance for him to win the Democratic nomination. The reason I think it's fine is that we really do have this two-party system that has a stranglehold on the country, and the best chance to get somebody like Sanders into the White House is to get them in as part of one of the existing parties.
Okay. Tad, how about you?
Well, I actually contacted Bernie probably about a year ago, really encouraging him to run as an independent. That's how I saw it at the time. I'm a big Bernie fan, a big supporter of his. I'm from Vermont. He's my senator. I kind of like the guy, but I'm behind him in his run as a Democrat. I think it kind of sucks some of the crap he's run into against Hillary, who I don't like. I think is incredibly corrupt individual. So I wish I don't want to second guess Bernie. I'm glad he's running. I really would like to see Hillary get indicted on something, or at least be called to account for her illegal activities. And that might provide an opportunity for Bernie, but it seems like a little bit of a wishful thinking at this point.
Now this is a caveat, okay? First of all, you say that he's your senator, but you have to understand something. Bernie and I went to the same high school. So I I mean, really. And so did Chuck Schumer, and so did Norm Coleman. We all went to Madison High School in Brooklyn. But anyway, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Chuck and Tad. Do you think that Bernie, if in fact he is not going to get the nomination, do you think that he should step out and run with Jill Stein on the Green Party ticket? How do you feel about that? Tad?
Can I answer?
Yeah, please.
I just like to answer to say that politics flummoxes me. Whenever I analyze politics, I'm wrong. So I don't know. But I'll watch and see what happens. I'm the last person you ever want to ask about any kind of political analysis.
All right, Chuck.
Wrong.
Chuck, what about you, Chuck? How do you feel? Do you think that Bernie should now?
I have very mixed feelings. Trump scares me. The thing is, Hillary scares me too. She just doesn't scare me quite as much.
All right.
In some ways, she scares me more, actually. But I don't know. I'm really torn at this point.
What do you think would happen, Phil? Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Do you think that it would be a spoiler? Do you think we'll just hand it to Trump? What would be the dynamic of it occur?
Well, I'll tell you, I think whether or not Bernie chooses to run as an independent, I think Trump has a very good chance of beating Hillary.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think.
Well, here's what I think is probably going to happen. And you both know how I feel because I do the radio bits with Chuck, and Ted prints all my columns. So you know how I feel. I don't have to go over it now. But basically, what's probably going to happen, and my wife's going to get angry because she hates Trump so much. But what's probably going to happen is if it's Trump against Hillary Clinton, when the day comes for the voters to go into that booth, my belief is that white males who are Democrats, men who are Democrats, when they go into that booth, except for the ones that are really heavy Democrats, they love the Democratic Party, but for a lot of the others who are not in that mindset, they're not going to pull the lever for her. They're going to pull the lever for maybe an independent or maybe Trump. That's my opinion. I don't think she'll win the election. That's how I feel. I don't think she'll win the election. And I hope that he's going to say that he's going to support her if she gets the nomination. Bernie Sanders. And if he tells his army of young people who are new to this game to vote for her, I think it's going to cause a big rift within that whole movement. And I think a lot of the people, I speak to a lot of people that are supporting him real heavy, and everyone I've spoken to is not going to vote for her, for Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. They're going to vote for the Green Party candidate. Yeah. I think it's going to be a good opportunity. Here's my opinion. This is going to be a great opportunity, finally, for third parties to get a lot more support in this election, right and left. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I hope you're right about that. I don't know. I'm strongly considering a vote for Jill Stein.
Yeah, and I think if you study the history of Hillary Clinton and of Trump, who are, to me, they're just two terrible people, you'll find, believe it or not, and I know my wife will kill me for saying this, but it's true, when it comes to foreign policy, he's actually on the left of her. He's on the left of her.
Yeah.
Because he'll make deals with the Russians, and she's talking this craziness. So I think he thinks of himself as a great businessman, all that baloney, And it's going to be a mess either way. So and again, as far as a woman's right to choose, if he is elected president, I think it'll be a positive thing for the women's movement, for the pro-choice movement, because if he tries, or if the Republicans try to really go heavy into this whole, anti-abortion, doing it, legally, through changing laws, I think it's going to create a massive movement, especially among a lot of feminists. And you're going to see women that never got involved out there, marching. So that could be a positive thing too, believe it or not.
Phil, I would like to suggest this. So 10:34, you said you had till 10:30. Why don't we wrap this show up, schedule another one for as soon as you're able to? When can you do this again? Can you do?
Okay, Monday or Tuesday.
How about you, Chuck? Can you join us next week sometime?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know when. Monday or Tuesday, same.
I'm going to say
time,
Monday at 10 a.m. initially, or just so that we, and then we can aim for that. Okay.
Well, thank you both for being on the show. We have some lovely parting gifts for the two of you. We have for Tad. We have a Vermont maple syrup advertising poster he can hang up in his room. And for Chuck Gregory, we have a beard trimming kit.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for being there. Okay, guys. So anyway, can we, what do we do now? Disengage?
Yeah, but I'm going to hit stop broadcast, and I'll see you and all of our audience 10 a.m. on Monday.
10 a.m. in the